Your blood. Your taste.
Hello and welcome to another film channel. First of all, a disclaimer, I have not read the books, so nothing I say will constitute a spoiler because I know just as much as any other TV viewer. So now let's begin with the review itself. Before getting to the prophecy itself, I want to briefly mention how good this scene was. As I said in my episode review, a big driving force for having flashback was fan requests, and I have mostly hated fan service in the past, but clearly this wasn't done to simply please book readers. First of all, it made Cersei more three-dimensional, and considering the forced absence of Tywin, King's Landing can certainly use a more complex Cersei capable of carrying a scene on her shoulder like Tywin did, and adding depth to her character is an obvious step in the right direction. Secondly, it gives more context to why she is always so bitter, making her more relatable. I also like the general atmosphere of the scene. At first we see a young girl abusing her status with what she considers a subject, but Maggy's behavior makes it immediately clear Cersei is going to regret it, that and the fact that it's Game of Thrones. And when the witch sucks the blood of the girl's finger, it gets rather uncomfortable, emphasizing what she asks requires some sort of sacrifice. Also, I believe a slight hint towards the Lord of Fire that has a strong connection with blood. Lastly, I know there has been some mild criticism of Maggy's look. Apparently in the book, she's old and ugly. The general complaint is that she looks smoking hot in the show simply because it's HBO, so they need to put good looking people. But I actually like the change. Books and television are a completely different media, and if you have an old ugly witch on television, you might just as well put her in a gingerbread house, and all I will see is pretty much this. Good job changing it, and all in all, absolutely a great scene. So, now onto the prophecy itself. Cersei gets 3 questions.
I've been promised to the prince. When will we marry?
You'll never wed the prince. You'll wed the king.
I believe the prince in question to be Rhaegar Targaryen, since it's said prior to Robert's rebellion. There is a mention in the Blu-ray extra material which you can find on my channel. Either way, the king in question is clearly Robert Baratheon, but I believe Cersei still assumes she will marry Rhaegar after his coronation. I tend to assume this was done intentional by Maggy to be deceitful and not be clear, although correct. The next bit of prophecy is
You'll be queen. For a time. Then comes another. Younger. More beautiful. To cast you down and take all you hold dear.
Here things get a little bit less clear. The most obvious answer is Marjorie, and I assume Cersei thinks that as well, especially considering the treatment she reserves for her. The less obvious answer is Daenerys, whose main goal is always to rule Westeros eventually. Still, my pick would be Myrcella, Cersei's daughter. The reason why I think that is in the third part of the prophecy.
Will the king and I have children?
The king will have 20 children. And you will have 3.
That doesn't make sense.
Gold will be their crowns. Gold. Their shrouds.
Okay, so Maggy correctly predicts the queen will have 3 children and the king 20, none of which together. She continues by saying that all 3 of them will have golden crowns and will all die. Joffrey was king and died. Thomas is king and can die at any minute, especially considering how sweet and naive he is. And Myrcella still needs to become queen, unless the term golden crown is a little bit vague and refers to something completely different. Now, considering Myrcella spent quite a bit of time in Dorne, she might not be the same sweet little girl that we've seen living. She might have become something completely different, and I'm pretty sure that Martell did not increase her love from any Lannister, and I'm sure they must have explained to her what happened and so on and so forth. So I'm assuming she will be not an ally for Cersei, but a main rival. The fact that she will also die, that's another question. That could be through White Walker, it could be through an invasion of any sort, or just simply poison. But I still assume that the queen that will cast Cersei down and will take everything for her is referring to Myrcella. Okay, so that concludes my video, and this was my interpretation of the prophecy. Do you agree with me? Did I miss something? Please let me know in the comment, and don't forget to like this video, and if you read the books, please don't be a douchebag and don't give anything away. Keep this spoiler free in the comments as well, and of course, subscribe.